Hey, everybody. Welcome to another session of Pastor Doug's virtual VIP midweek Bible study. As we've been in high study preparing for this lesson today,
Deep thought.
deep thought, we want to welcome everybody and tell you, and I know we joke around a lot, but we both really do enjoy this opportunity to talk with you a little bit and kind of share some of the thoughts from the message from last week. And thank you for tuning in with us. I want to start, Doug, if we could, with the scriptures because I think it just brings us right to the point. If we're going to believe in God and trust in God, and we're going to believe His word, then we go to His word first, and then see how that leads us in our discussion.
From Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 8. If you see miscarriage of justice throughout the land, don't be surprised, for every official is under orders from higher up. So the matter is lost in red tape and bureaucracy. Also from Ecclesiastes now chapter 10, verse 5. Here is an injustice. Stupid people are given positions of authority. Well, that's from the Living Bible, a different translation. The NIV, the New International Version, says the same thing. They all mean the same thing, but they use the word foolish instead of stupid. But whatever word applies and makes sense to you.
What was interesting to me when I was doing that and putting that together, when I saw stupid, I thought, wow, I'm going to do that because people don't think the word stupid's in the Bible, but it really catches your attention, doesn't it? And we just have to understand that this is our world and this is life. I'm so amazed as I went through those scriptures. If you get a chance or you missed it, go back on the live stream and listen to the scriptures that we used for this message that just talk about how accurate things are today compared to what it was thousands and thousands of years ago. Some of the scriptures are over 3,000 years old, but yet they apply to today. That to me, just that's God. That just tells you this is a God that's in tune and that his words are lasting forever and they're not going to change. And if you don't get that out of that, something's missing in your life of understanding, I think, because that means a lot to me.
It does. It also tells me that as smart as we think we are, all the advances and
Why'd you look
knowledge,
at
and
me when you said that?
because I'm talking to you,
Okay.
all the advances in technology and knowledge that we've gained over these 3,000 years since Ecclesiastes, we're really not any better. We're not
Right,
really any
right,
smarter.
right.
We may know more things, but we're not any smarter. Our quality of life, our standard of living is so high. We have really nothing to complain about, but yet we do a lot of complaining. And yet, if we go back to 3,000 years, we are really pretty foolish. A lot of things we do are self-inflicted. We make mistakes and bring these problems on ourselves.
Well, and that's why if that's what's going to be happening in society, and society's going to do that, your leadership's going to do that. The only way that you can have any peace and understanding in your life is to make sure your life is set. Your life is set. And I do this all the time. I deal with people and couples and families all the time, and we're kind of talking about improving ourselves and our situations. And like if I was talking to Doug about his relationship, my first thing would say is, Doug, you have to take care of you and your relationship with God. If you want to be the best father, the best husband, the best friend you can be, you first have to get yourself taken care of. You can't get ahead of that and try to be a great husband if you're not the great person that God created you to be. That's kind of how it works. And if everybody did that, if everybody paid attention to who they were, and I got my house in order, then I don't have to worry about everybody's other house. I can take my house in order, your house is in order, and then as a nation, as a country, as a land, we kind of get things kind of figured out a little bit better. But everybody who avoids, and it just seems like every week I'm hearing about a marriage that's struggled. So this problem is happening. And then a lot of the people I know, and if they've kind of walked away from their walk with God, a lot of times you see some stuff happen. Now, listen, I'm not saying that every Christian's relationship and marriage is perfect because it certainly is not. But one indication I look for healing of a relationship is there are they in tune with God? And then being in tune with God means understanding His words and His truth and His scriptures, and then applying them. That's what this series is all about. taking God's truth and applying it to your life. So you're creating this value of being a fair person. And that goes through everything that you do. I started out by saying, we like sports and we watch a lot of sports and we watch umpires and referees, and sometimes we think they're great, but if they make a call that goes in our favor, that's kind of okay. But the ones that go against us, we don't like. No, fairness should be a standard by which you live by.
Should be. You mentioned sports. Why do we even have to have referees and umpires?
Mhm.
Because we make mistakes, we cause fouls, and some people will actually intentionally cheat to get ahead. And you mentioned about how we need to take care of ourselves, and I think about our country, our world for that matter, and how we seem to be going off the rails a bit. And it would be nice if we could fix things and change the world. Well, where does that start? At home, like you said, fix yourself, fix your home, get that in order. And as things go better for you, not perfect, but better, then people will see that. They go, oh, how's it working over there? Why is he so lucky? He's not lucky. He's just following God's way, God's will.
Well, and like we talked about in our homes, it shows in your family. Your family, how you raise your family, how you teach your family, how you teach your children. I mean, they see the ground level. They see what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. They see, you buy something at the store and they didn't charge you for something, and you say, hey, wow, we won today. We got this. Or do you let the store know? I did it one time. I had something that they didn't charge me for, and I went back and they said, go ahead, you're fine. It's okay. It'd be too hard to go back in and try to fix it. Thank you for doing that. But for me, that felt good. I did the right thing.
Sure.
Douglas or somebody just said to me the other day about how important they think it is to put the shopping cart back or put it in the proper place. And I used to be guilty of this. Sometimes it was just whatever's most convenient for me because I'm going and take it off. Now I think, you know what? Somebody might be watching you. Take it and
Mm-hmm.
put it back where it belongs. It takes a couple of seconds, maybe. For me, I'm looking at how many steps I have to take to do it that I don't want to do. But listen, it's little things. It's the small things in life, I think, that set a standard for how you live and how you do things. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. And I got a similar story about, well, probably 20 years ago. I was in Florida and I went to a matinee and I paid for my ticket and I'm walking inside and looking at, oh, they gave me $2 too much. So I turn around to go back and give them the right amount. I look at my ticket and realize they gave me the senior rate. I wasn't anywhere near the senior, but I did
You
have all
look at
gray or white
now,
hair. So,
and you
and then
qualify and then some.
I just had to laugh at myself. Okay, well,
Look at,
a little bit of color still there hanging
you know
on.
what
That's what you're
happens? I
saying.
put when I wet it. When it gets wet, it's darker. Apparently. So anyway,
But it is important to have values and standards and live by them. Do we live intentionally, or do we just kind of go through life and nothing's happened to us? Life is busy. We're all busy, and before you know it, the day's over, and you don't even know what happens sometimes. But if you live intentionally, you know what you're doing by design, by God's design. And when something happens, like getting the wrong change, if you got shorted, of course you
oh
want
yeah.
that fixed. But if you get extra, you should take it back because that's not your money. It belongs to them.
Well, and you don't know what's going on in everybody's life. I can remember one time, this is many years ago, Robin and I were driving. I think we were going to the beach. All right, so we were out of town and we went through a drive-through. And this lady was handling the drive-through. And when I paid her, she took the change, the coins, and set them on top of the little registers that she was at. And
Okay.
she handed me the bills. And I happened to notice there was a big pile of change up there. And Robin saw. Now Robin is like this. Everything's got to be fair. And if you do something, it's why did you do that? Not hey, I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but why? Well, why? Well, because I wasn't thinking. Probably is the why. But
Mm-hmm.
she's a why person. She wants to know why. Well, she wants to say something because it's not fair. But that person is taking that money, and obviously there's been lots of other people. For me, it was 32 cents or something. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was worth calling her out on it and or getting her in trouble. I don't know what her situation is. But the point of my story is for her, she felt justified in doing that, apparently, or hey, she can get away with it, apparently, or whatever. But those little things that we do, they bleed into your life. They bleed into how you think and how you live and your honesty. And you know the thing that's really starting to hit me more in my life at this point, which is kind of weird. I didn't think about it sooner. What you sow, you reap.
Mhm.
And that goes through lots of different areas of your life. If that's in the Bible, which it is, if that's true, which it came from Christ, it has to be true. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, they said, well, I don't feel like people respect me. Well, are you respectful to other
Mhm.
people? If you plant that seed of
Right.
respect, it's going to come back to you. So that financial thing, if I'm stealing that money, which that lady actually was stealing that money, you know, it's going to come back. So you think you're getting ahead by a couple of dollars that you've accumulated by not giving people the change. You know, God's not going to bless you in your financial life. He's just not going to do it. And so we got to understand these things sometimes that, and if you, I would challenge you to think more about that sowing and reaping concept in every area of your life. You know, I want people to be nicer to me. Okay, you be nice to people. You plant that seed and watch that come back. It could be a financial thing. I'm having financial trouble. You plant that seed by giving your best to God, your first to God, and He will reward you for that. And it covers every single area of your life. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And when you mentioned sowing and reaping, imagine if you don't have any friends
Mm-hmm.
and you want to make some friends. Well, how
So
do you
what's
make
that like?
friends? I was going to ask you. How do you make friends? Well, you be a friend.
Right.
You want to have love in your life. Well, how do you meet someone to love? You be lovable, just like Pastor mentioned in terms of having respect and giving respect. So, is it something where you're just going to get away with a little couple 32 cents here and there? All that stuff builds into your character and who you are. And then you may wonder why you don't have friends or close relationships or a good reputation because they've seen you take and steal or small things, but that all adds up to your reputation. It affects your reputation.
You ever go to a restaurant with somebody and they just ask a ton of questions? They're complaining, they want this, they're asking extra of this and a double of that, and they get a reputation. And I'm not going to name one, but I have one in my family that does that. And it's just, you know, please just place your order, just like like everybody else, and don't ask for anything extra, and don't make a big deal about it, and all that kind of stuff. And your reputation precedes you. Everybody kind of knows that. So we can make these conscious decisions to be a fair person, to be honest, to do what you'd have people do to you and treat people that way. And it'll change your life. It really will. You could take it today after you watch this and you can say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to apply that. I'm going to plant lots of seeds of favor and goodness and kindness and gentleness to people. See what happens. See how God brings it back to you. Thank you for joining us today. It was really fun to talk with you and everything. And I'm going to try to help Doug make some more friends. We're done.
Thank you. I need all the help I can get.
God bless you all. Thanks for joining us.